We're here. Date night conspiracy. I'm always so... Oh, not date night conspiracy. Date night news. Oh, sorry. We can't call it that. The algorithm doesn't like that. But I'm always so happy when I get to talk to somebody in a podcast setting. You know? Mm-hmm. And it's my wife.
Hello.
Wave those hands.
Hello.
There you go. There she is. Today we're covering the moon landing or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
And a chunk of it's going to be about Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Because he's an essential part, supposedly, to the moon landing.
For sure.
But before we get into that, got to bring you guys to the store. My amazing wife made this. How proud are you of yourself for doing this?
Pretty proud.
Right?
I've never done anything like that.
I know. This has been something I could not do for years. We got the hoodies, we got the shirts, we got the t-shirts, and the women's v-necks. Go over here. We got mugs, children's sizes, and the tank tops because not everybody's like me and wants to wear sweatshirts every single day of the year. That's just me. I know. I'm a different person. Every single purchase helps us fight demonetization, helps us fight against them limiting our views for no reason. And if you are somebody who's purchased something, thank you so much. You are so appreciated. It makes her so happy because she's like, an order went through, and she gets so happy.
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you guys so much, everybody who's done that. Let's get into the topic. I gotta set my alarm as well.
Yeah, so the moon landing. Did you think the moon landing was a conspiracy before you really looked into it?
Well, I mean, before I looked into it, I was like a child. I was like 12. Because when I started looking into things, I was like 14, 15.
Yeah.
When I figured that you can search things on the internet, I just started searching things, right? And then also I always had my brother. Like when I was like 10, like my brother, Chris, he would always be like, hey man, you know that they're going to go cashless? And I'd be like, what? He's like, yeah, they're only going to be able to use cards and there's going to be no money. They're going to take away all the cash.
Wow.
And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Which is wild because now it's just like,
now it's happening.
I bring that up to him. He's like, oh, he never explains how he knew or anything. But so yeah, I've always been looking into stuff like that. So the second you start looking into anything, that's always one of the conspiracy that pops up. The first things that always pop up are when you first start looking into stuff, Freemasons, secret societies, lizard people, moon landing, stuff like that ends up popping up right away. The
big ones.
Yeah. It's like if you just search conspiracies, like that's what's going to pop up. You know? So kind of.
Like I had heard that there were conspiracy theories around it, but I never really believed it until I actually looked into it more. I just thought, there's conspiracy theories about everything and didn't really think much of it.
Yeah, I agree with that because, school, we're just taught we went to space and this is how we did it. And there's so much extensive talk and science about how we went up there and we came back and there was failed missions and there was missions that worked out. And we just knew that as kids.
When I was growing up, there was a show called Even Stevens.
Oh, yeah?
And I loved it. And they did this whole episode on the moon. And the kids were learning about the moon in school. That was the episode.
Oh yeah.
And they sang this huge song which was super cringy and weird about we went to the moon in 1969. So anytime I hear the moon, that song starts playing in my head. It's stuck.
Wow, look at that conditioning.
Yeah, it's insane. It's stuck in there.
So somebody brings that up and you go, we went to the moon.
Yeah, the song. Yeah,
that's weird, eh?
Mm-hmm.
The way that works.
It is weird because I probably only saw that episode once. What, maybe 15, 20 years ago?
Wow, that's nuts. And now it just pops up.
Anytime, yeah.
It makes sense. That's how you get people. That's how you train people. That's how you teach people. That's how you program people, for better or for worse, right? So
yeah,
makes sense.
But we'll get into some of the theories here. The biggest is that if the moon landing was faked, it was all filmed and directed by Stanley Kubrick. So Stanley Kubrick, for those of you who don't know, is the director of 2001: A Space Odyssey, among many other films that are amazing. He's one of the best film directors of all time.
The greatest.
Yeah.
Hands down. Bar none. There's no one better.
Yeah. So in 2001: A Space Odyssey, it was the first movie of its kind that showed what it did. Like nobody had ever really been into space like that. So it was just amazing. And like the footage was so realistic for the time.
Yeah.
Like the effects were amazing. Like everything was just like mind blowing to the people of the 1960s.
And also, like a lot of people still talk about this. It's still like you're saying it was great for that time. It's great for this time. Like it's amazing. And people in AI, even years ago, and I don't know about currently, but years ago, up until the 2010s, they were like, that is the best depiction of AI that we've seen yet.
Wow.
Like the way he did it with the space, with the ship, and how the ship was interacting, and how it would learn, and how it didn't want to die, and everything. Like he was on point with everything.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah, but people think this movie had a link to the moon landing because it started filming in 1964, which is the same year that the first stages of the Apollo program started.
Oh, really?
Which is, of course, all the missions to go to the moon.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they started at the same time. And throughout the movie, Kubrick had access to NASA's facilities and experts during the entire 4 years of filming.
Look at him.
Like, why, like, if he's just some film director, why would they give him that access? Why do they care? Why do they have any kind of vested interest in that?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That's a big thing that I always bring up when I talk about it with people, because he was able to go to, like, for one of his films, maybe even before this, he was able to go to NASA, or no, I think it was after, not sure, but he was able to go to NASA and be like, I need a lens made.
Yeah.
And I need you guys to make it. And they
Camera
just
lens.
did it. Like, what?
Yeah, why? It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Very
there's a
odd.
movie, Interstellar. Like, do you think they got access to NASA for that?
Can
No.
you imagine? Matthew McConaughey walks in. All right,
All
guys.
right, all right.
I need you guys to just show me some space. Like, get out now.
No,
Get out.
it doesn't make any sense. Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, it's very, very weird. Even to think about. And that's always the thing that I love about Stanley Kubrick, is that he had this weird, very mysterious, like, I can go and work with NASA for years and weird stuff. Even that clip of Joe Rogan I was just playing for you off camera, talking about how he would, in his free time, he would study super high level math equations. That was like his fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Really weird. Freemason all over him. Seems like a Freemason.
Yeah, odd dude.
I
Very
don't-
mysterious.
I don't have any proof of that, but like he seems like it. Just the connections alone make you
True.
think, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely connections there.
Mm-hmm.
But A Space Odyssey was released in 1968, which is a year before the moon landing.
Yes.
So basically, this entire Apollo program culminated when A Space Odyssey was released. So it was like they were just kind of side by side the entire time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're kind of hand in hand as he was making it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, how easy would it have been? They already have movie sets and stuff
Yeah.
to just kind of do a side project.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like anytime he figured out something cinematically, he could just lend that to them.
For sure.
You know, and anytime they would figure out something technology wise, they would just
they were just partners in that.
Weird.
Yeah, so it was theorized that the government funded A Space Odyssey and offered to fund all of his movies in the future. And a reason why people thought this is because the president of MGM at the time, who was the company who was making this movie, who would normally have funded the movie, never once asked to see A Space Odyssey in its 4 years of production.
Wow.
Like, you'd think someone who is funding this revolutionary movie that no one's ever done before would at least kind of check in once in 4 years.
Yeah.
But he didn't care because it's not funded by him. He doesn't care.
True. So he never checked in to see how it was doing or anything.
Nope, never.
That's another lore to Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
It's like what gives you the right to have that type of treatment?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, almost like you're in charge in
Yeah.
comparison to that man.
Basically a blank check, make whatever movie you want. I don't care.
And wait, this is the president of the. Wait, who was funding it? Sorry, you said the president of MGM?
No, he should have been funding it.
Yeah.
It's MGM as a company,
Exactly.
but they think the government was funding it
Wow.
because MGM didn't seem to care about it.
Or didn't have any authority anyway.
Yeah, true.
It's like this guy's working with NASA right now, and you know, every time you step in, like, we have to stop everything we're doing because maybe we're working hand in hand with this man.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to stay far away. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, and I'm sure Stanley Kubrick knew some classified stuff too if he's working that closely with people from NASA on the space program while they're doing moon stuff.
How weird is that?
Like, moon stuff would have been totally classified then.
Yeah, yeah. 100%.
So that it doesn't get out with the space race and everything.
To the Russians, yeah. The Russians were the real worry back then.
Yeah, exactly.
So weird.
So crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love we went to the moon and danced around on the moon and took steps, and I love maybe we didn't go at all. I love both. Both are so fun.
I'm totally fine with both.
Right? Like, if we went, it's amazing because we took steps and we were like, here's a flag. We're leaving a flag here. Wow, who's going to do anything
Taking
about
some
it?
rocks.
Yeah, like it's great either way.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a great movie.
True.
Yeah.
True. And if you pull up that first picture there, so
this one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Stanley Kubrick met with all of these guys. You can see Stanley Kubrick in there.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just make sure my thing is...
Yeah, so there's Stanley Kubrick, and then he also has a couple astronauts there, Deke Slayton and George Mueller. George Mueller is actually a senior Apollo administrator, so he was actively working on the Apollo projects at this time.
Wow.
And then the other guy is an author, something Clark, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sci-fi author.
Yeah. So the sci-fi author wrote a book called The Sentinel, which was the book that the movie was based on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So it was his kind of story.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So between all these guys, there's like a bunch of really sciencey guys and then a bunch of kind of really imaginative.
Yeah, there's this movie guys and science guys.
Yeah.
And like, what better way to make a movie or to fake a thing than to have those collection of people together?
Yeah. And apparently
wow.
Kubrick had meetings with some of these NASA guys in the picture, and the meeting was classified.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, what did they even talk about? Why was it classified?
He's the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love Stanley Kubrick. He makes me want to make movies. I really want to make movies just because of him.
Yeah.
Wow. So good.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh?
Yeah, really crazy. Sorry, guys. Let's gotta move it to me a little bit.
And then after
Keep
A Space
your identity
Odyssey.
secret.
Yes.
Because you're just as cool as Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, classified.
That's why you have the right? It's like, this Coach Colin, he won't even put his wife on camera. This
No.
Coach Colin.
I love the person who was like, I think you need to get a second camera so you can see the face of the hands.
So you can see her. Yeah. It's classified. People.
Yeah.
Not allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, go ahead.
Stanley Kubrick also directed a movie called The Shining with Jack Nicholson, and it was based on a Stephen King novel.
Stephen King's so upset about all of it, too.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Stephen King hated the movie because it went so far off of his novel. And we're going to talk about some of the changes he made, just like the little things, too, and just like extrapolations from Stephen King's work.
So amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing that you could be a director and you're just like, I don't care what you have to say, Stephen King.
Yeah.
Like
True.
today,
Stephen King of all people.
anybody that gets a Stephen King, they would be ecstatic. They want him there the whole time. What do you think, sir?
No.
And Stanley Kubrick's just like, listen, I got your thing, and
Yeah, thanks for the idea.
I'm gonna do whatever I want.
I'm
Trust
gonna
me.
run with it. Yeah, but one of them is if you pull up the picture of like the four little things in one.
Oh, is this it? 5? Oh, no. This one.
This one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see the boy's sweater in the top left. He's like fully wearing an Apollo 11 sweatshirt. Like that's nowhere in the book does it say specifically he wears an Apollo 11 sweatshirt. That was just from the mind of Stanley Kubrick.
From the mind, and it was so fresh that he could have possibly had that shirt made.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, maybe there were shirts like that. I have no idea, but
it doesn't look like it. It looks like hand knit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, like normally, like when there's like promotional shirts like that, they don't look hand knit like that.
Exactly. So maybe you had someone make it.
Yeah.
Because they'll do that. I've worked film and television before. They'll turn to somebody who's like the person's costumes or whatever, and they'll be like, I need a hand knit shirt that's says Apollo 11 on it.
Yeah.
It's a rocket ship, and I need it soon.
Yeah.
Like this is what even before the movie, it would be like, this is what I need from you guys, and I need this to be done, and they would just like have it made.
Yeah.
So this here actually shows what was going on in that scene with the kid. So the kid's actually playing with some trucks and some buses. People say that there's a connection between that blue bus as well. See, and then this is how they pull it back. So the young boy's playing. Boom. And then something comes. He looks. And this is where, when you have those 4 things that you were showing me just now.
Yeah.
It's like he stands up. It's like the rocket going up.
Oh, true.
Apollo 11. And then Apollo 11 goes to room 237.
Oh my gosh. I've never seen this movie. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the boy walks to room 237.
Yeah. He walks to room 237, as you can see right now. Then he says, "Mom, are you in there?" Right? And nobody answers. It actually pans off to his mom in a different room. Then the mom finds him, and his shirt is torn. The Apollo 11 shirt is torn, and he has like choke marks.
Oh, jeez.
And he's sucking his thumb, and he can't speak.
Oh.
And people say that that's symbolism for the mission being a hoax.
Yeah.
And that nobody was able to talk about it after.
Interesting.
So they're kind of showing the kid as the depiction of the crew of Apollo 11.
Yeah.
And how
they were so weird when they came back.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the thing that Joe Rogan goes into in one of the clips I have. But yeah, how they were all so weird and so silent.
Yeah.
You know, and almost like the threat of violence upon them.
Yeah.
And that's supposedly what this whole scene means. And the fact that she finds him later and he's sucking his thumb. Like, that's what it all means, apparently.
Yeah. Well, if we break that down even a little bit more, do you have the picture of the launch pad?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that carpet with the hexagons on it. So people are saying that looks almost identical to the shape of the launch pad.
Yeah, so that's that there.
Yeah, and even with like the lines coming out of it, and then there's
closer.
Multiple. Like it's not a perfect hexagon, but it's pretty close.
It's as close as you can get from like going into
like making a rug.
Well, going in, yeah, exactly, right? Like going into a hotel and everything, like.
Yeah. So then when you say like he stands up too, like it's coming off the launch pad.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly
crazy.
What it's supposed to be.
And then you said goes to the room, which is 237. In the initial novel, the room number was 217.
Yes.
So it's actually changed to 237 because there are 237,000 miles from the Earth to the moon.
And changed, and also like you can even look here, like intentionally emphasized.
Yeah.
So like you see the room number, and then you also see this keychain hanging.
Yeah.
Also to show that somebody's there, which also could be like a weird conspiracy you can dive into, right?
Huh. And then also there's just like Tang on a shelf randomly, which was like made for astronauts specifically.
Yeah. I wish I can zoom in on that. It's not letting me.
Yeah.
It's not letting me zoom in properly.
That's okay. That one I don't have much to say about. It's just there happens to be Tang.
Well, Tang, and also if anybody was alive back when Tang was really popping back then, when it was really a thing, their commercial was Tang, like it's a drink for earthlings who don't want to be earthbound forever. And it's like a kid in an astronaut suit.
Yeah.
Like a kid around this little guy's age.
Huh.
Yeah. Very weird commercial.
That is weird.
Because it was like the drink of the astronauts, right? So in this hotel where this boy has this sweater on this type of launch pad thing, going to room 237, in the pantry or in this shot, there's Tang. And I actually say in the pantry because there's another scene with Jack Nicholson where he's in the storage room and there's Tang there as well.
Oh, really?
So it's
multiple appearances.
Well, it's as if this whole hotel is a place for astronauts, like it's being depicted as that. You know what I mean? Very interesting.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah, nuts. I love Kubrick. I love him.
Yeah,
love that
crazy.
He did this.
And I wonder too, like when the conspiracy came about that he filmed the moon landing. Like, did that happen before? And he put these in as like Easter eggs to kind of like giggle to himself and like fan the flames and cause people to watch the movie?
Yeah, right. I wonder. I don't think so though. I think nobody I think nobody had any idea at that time. People started talking about it I believe when he died.
Oh yeah.
Because then by that time he had done Eyes Wide Shut, and Eyes Wide Shut had so much symbolism in it, so much weird stuff that I think from there people started looking in to the movies more so. I think, but also, I mean, 2001: Space Odyssey alone, it had people were constantly dissecting it since that movie came out.
Yeah.
Like as soon as everybody saw the movie, because I don't know if you were there. There was an old man who actually broke it down for me. He's like, when that movie came out, it sucked. He's like, it was a terrible movie and nobody wanted to see it. He's like, and then he's like, a few of us would get like, and I'm sure this happened like all over the place. He's like, but we started getting high and we started watching it high. And then people were like, yo, when you get high and watch this movie, it's crazy. And that's who started filling the theaters. Really high people. And then it just buzzed. And then a certain amount of the population was buzzing about it. And then everybody else poured in.
Interesting.
And that's how it became. And it took a while. It wasn't like it happened in a week. It took a while. And then people were like, this movie's insane.
Interesting.
And then it was like a lot of high hippie types, 70 types that were like, what does this mean? And what's that mean?
We should ask my dad about it if he remembers seeing it for the first time.
I got that information from a man named Manny, a very old Jewish man that I used to work for. And he was breaking it all down for me because at that time when I was working at that place, I believe we not just met, but we knew each other not as long. We weren't dating for that long. And he was alive in that time and he was just breaking it all down for me. I just started my film pursuing, like how much I love film and how I was watching all the Stanley Kubrick stuff. And he like told me about like how that movie was.
That's cool.
When it came out. Really interesting stuff.
Perspective.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, you get high and watch it. I was like, what?
Oh.
Yeah, so go ahead. Sorry.
That's all I have for Stanley Kubrick. Do you have any more like clips or anything you wanted to show for that?
Clips for Stanley Kubrick? Let's see. I mean, we can go into this real quick. This is the 5 clues. Did he fake the moon landing? The Overlook Hotel? No, I want to talk. Oh, this one. This one I saw. Let's highlight this. So Stephen King was unhappy that he took this one girl. It was supposed to be one girl. Stanley Kubrick made it into 2 girls. And people say that it signified the failed Gemini mission by NASA, with both characters acting as ghostly reminders of wrongdoing.
Interesting.
Really weird.
It also makes me think of like the duality of what he's been doing. Like he was like doing the moon landing at the same time as 2001: A Space Odyssey. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. We should show you guys. Yeah, and they're hand in hand.
Yeah, like the entire time. And they're the same.
And they're the same. Whoa.
You like my theory better?
Jeez, that's nuts. That is nuts. And then the carpet, I mean, obviously everybody knows that. It looks like the launch pad.
Yeah,
and then
I didn't know that before.
And then the boy standing up. I mean, everybody, like, since we started talking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I had there. And then just another picture of the launch pad. Yeah, that was basically it for that stuff. I still think this picture is very telling.
Yeah, right?
Just these
like, why is he with all those people? What is happening?
Well, yeah, whoa. Why would they want to be around you?
I don't know. It's so strange.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, very interesting stuff.
Another thing I found interesting about the space mission in general is that it landed back to Earth 36 minutes ahead of schedule, which is amazing. Like, it's great if like you arrive in your car ahead of schedule or like on a bus ahead of schedule, but there's so much math and science and precision that goes into something like a space launch that shouldn't happen.
No.
So it makes me think, because I always land in like an ocean because it's like the safest place.
Of course.
And there were people like press who were going to go out to like film like the landing,
coming in, yeah.
But they missed it.
Oh, because they were early.
Yeah.
Oh, so no press got to see them actually fall in.
Yeah. So I think they just gave them the wrong time. Like, I don't think they just arrived early because that seems so impossible to me.
Whew. That's pretty cool.
I think they just were there.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, like it's either that or the math was off, right? And it's like I don't know what happens if the math is off. Does everybody die as soon as like, anything's off by a second, or
Pretty much.
or do they just come in early and they just brush themselves off?
Oh gosh.
It would be great to hear a perspective of one of those press people if they were still alive.
Yeah.
One of those people, like what
That'd be
happened?
so annoying because that's like a shot of a lifetime.
Yeah, you'd be pissed.
Of course.
You'd be pissed.
Of course.
Really pissed. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I love thinking about this possibly not being a real thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Another crazy thing that happened was they took actual like tape footage on the moon. So it was not like today where everything's just kind of sent back like electronically.
Yeah.
There were so many missing tapes from Apollo 11 that were never recovered. Nobody knows where they are to this day.
Yeah, there was one I actually watched a video on it. It was someone from NASA saying that they taped over it.
Yeah.
Like there were certain things that they just taped over and certain technology to go back to the moon that they just lost.
Yeah, how do you just lose that?
Yeah. Yeah, right?
It's crazy.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. Very, very weird stuff.
Yeah. And people also say that they identify the fact that there was a 2-minute gap in radio transmission during landing to be like telling. But that I don't really put much credence into that because I think even now, like as people go through the atmosphere, like you can't get radio transmission.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be off a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. Like even them coming back early, it's like if they went to the moon and all that happened, they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to do a thing and it actually worked. And then they're like, we came back early. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I barely understand how any of this works.
Yeah.
I've just been trained to go up into space and come back down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Right? Maybe they did something to come back early.
True.
Right? Like, it's very weird. It's a very weird scenario.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that, they were just somebody drove up in a bus and we're like, all right, gentlemen, get out there. Get out there and put some water on yourselves.
Yeah.
Everybody take a dunk.
Everyone dunk.
Dunk your heads in there.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I picture like if it was a hoax, I think they still would have sent them into space because they did several successful missions that just weren't landing on the moon.
Yeah, true.
So I feel like they would have just sent them into space and then brought them back down.
True. Yeah, you could do that.
Just a normal mission.
Right?
And then say that they were on the moon.
Especially if your director, like your overseeing director is Stanley Kubrick, he's going to be like, you gentlemen are going to space.
Yeah.
We're getting this real. You understand?
Yeah. And then who knows what happens when you're up there.
Yeah, exactly. Kubrick's just like, these guys are going up there.
Yeah.
But we could just, no.
No.
Not on my set. You're going up there immediately, gentlemen.
Maybe that's why they were so pissed.
Yeah, right.
Quiet when they came back.
Oh, true. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah, we should play
They were
that
like, that
clip.
was horrible.
We'll play that clip soon. Joe Rogan talking about when the gentlemen come back.
Yeah.
Very, very telling. I should actually look and see if I can find that myself. But yeah, what else you got?
There was a former U.S. Navy officer named Bill Kaysing, and he ended up becoming a senior technical writer at a rocket production company called Rocketdyne. And he wrote a book in 1976 called We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion Swindle.
He wrote a book called that?
Yeah. And he worked with rockets. So he claimed the scientists who worked with him at Rocketdyne said that we had the technology to send a crewed mission to the moon, but not to bring them back. So they didn't know like how to do that, how we did that.
Who's they don't know?
The rocket scientists.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At this rocket production company.
Wow.
Said we do not have the technology to bring them back home.
Wait, before they went?
No, this is after.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 1976, he wrote the book.
So 1976, he was like, we don't have that technology.
Yeah.
Even though they came back. So what was his claim then?
He was claiming that it was fake, yeah.
Ah.
He said it
and
was
he's a rocket
swindle.
scientist.
He worked with rocket scientists. He was...
Did he work for NASA?
No, he was a U.S. Navy officer and then a senior technical writer at a rocket production company. So he didn't work directly with NASA, but he worked for a company that made rockets for NASA.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
And all the rocket scientists there were like, nah.
We're like, nah, what?
Like we don't have the technology. So all of them believed it was a hoax.
So more of them did, eh?
Yeah.
I want to know. And we went to the moon 1969, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a song again.
So I see. You can hear it. There's an interview from 1967. Let's watch it. You care?
Oh, go ahead.
Can we do it?
Yeah, what is
Let's
it?
do it. Let's hear it.
Neil Armstrong, command pilot for the Apollo 11 moon landing mission. What is the purpose of the Apollo 11 mission?
Apollo 11 is man's first attempt to demonstrate the ability to go to the moon, to land there, and to return to Earth.
How do you view your role as command module pilot?
Well, Apollo was designed to be a three-man job, and the third, which I perform, is I think, as important, no more so, no less so, than the other two positions. I think I'd be a fool if I said that I had the best seat of the three. On the other hand, I can say with complete candor and with complete honesty that I'm very happy to have the seat which I have and to be doing the job that I intend to do.
Roger, Eagle, done. Roger, how does it look? Eagle.
We will continue burning the engine until an altitude of only about 5 feet, at which the probes will ignite a light on our panel. We see it illuminate, we cut the engine, and fall the last several feet to touchdown.
4 forward, drift into the right a little. 30 seconds forward, drift.
What do you think of that? What do you think of them doing that?
The first thing that stuck out to me is right at the beginning. He said, the Apollo mission is to demonstrate our ability to land on the moon.
Oh, geez.
Not even to land on the moon. It's to demonstrate the ability. So that like makes me think it's more like Cold War stuff.
Ooh, wow. Could you imagine? Because, yeah, this is before they actually went.
Yeah.
So he's like, we're going to demonstrate our ability to go back to the moon.
Yeah.
And Kubrick's like behind the camera guy, like, this fucking moron.
Yeah, like a
Idiot.
Freudian slip almost.
Yeah, because if I was going to the moon, I'd be different. But maybe you'd be like a soldier. I don't know. I'd be like, we're going to the moon, bitches. Wow.
Yeah.
I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs.
But it's also like, you have to keep in mind too that it would be extremely scary.
Exactly. Like
considering how many people,
yeah,
like astronauts died in the first couple.
So you wouldn't actually know. You'd be like, I'm kind of serving my country.
Yep.
I'm like a soldier who's almost definitely gonna die. Especially like back then, that's what soldiers did. It's like if you went away, you probably weren't coming back.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I guess you're right. You would be a little scared. You'd be a little,
for sure. Like I don't know if he'd be like openly excited.
Yeah, that's true. Because you don't know if you're coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Buzz Aldrin. He's punching people in the face.
Yeah, he's going crazy now.
Yeah. He's punching people
and he's
out.
like what, like late 80s or something? 90?
And he also said he didn't go to the moon. And then people were like, why'd you say that? And he's just like, then he gets all violent with them. Really weird.
And it's funny that it was like Buzz Aldrin, because in that Netflix show, Inside Job, there's an episode about Buzz Aldrin going crazy and they need to like flip him with his clone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, funny.
I love this whole thing. But, yeah, what else you got?
There's also people say that there are no blast craters left on the moon from their landing because they had rockets that were supposed to slow their descent so they didn't just crash right into the moon.
Of course, yeah.
Which means there was like flame coming out the bottom as they came down. But there's no mark on the moon. So people are saying, like, how did the footprints get left?
Oh.
But there's no even Like they were expecting like a crater in the dust, something to have been left from this descent.
Damn.
Yeah. And I just saw like a whole bunch of like debunking videos on that, but it didn't make any sense because what their theory is for the debunking is that because the moon has less gravity and has no atmosphere, that the rocket wouldn't have been like the, I don't know, propulsion stream, for lack of a better term, wouldn't have been as targeted. It would have been able to kind of spread out because there's no atmosphere.
Oh, but then the footprint wouldn't? Because it's like more focused?
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
That's a rough one.
Yeah.
That's a rough one.
Because he said in that interview as well that they had to stop the rocket about 5 feet before landing, and they'd put their little propulsion sticks out. Sorry, their little, I don't know, landing sticks, landing gear.
Why wouldn't you
and
see
they would
sticks?
just fall to the rest.
Wouldn't you just see the sticks?
Well, yeah, you could see where the sticks were in.
You can?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In the moon?
They're just tiny little, like, marks, yeah.
You can see it right now?
I think so.
Wow. Okay, then we went. We went to the moon, no?
I don't know.
Isn't that what that means?
Well, I don't know. Can they actually, like, it's not big enough to, like, to see.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, how could anybody, like, how do people even see the footprints? Like,
Well,
now?
I don't know. I guess they would have to get, like, really zoomed in satellite images. But once you get so zoomed in, like, even on things like Google Earth, you can just, it's just different photos.
Yeah.
So you could just put in that photo.
True.
When you hit zoom the next time.
That's, see? It's all very weird.
It is weird.
It's a very weird circumstance. And the fact that we never went back.
Yeah.
Never went back. Do you have more notes?
Not really. Just,
So let me play this Joe Rogan clip then.
Okay.
He's going to talk about it. Where is he? I love a nice Joe Rogan clip. Look at him. Looks good and high, too. That's how I like my Rogan.
He wouldn't leave London. Fuck you. I'm staying here. But this movie's supposed to be in the middle of the jungle. Yeah. Well, it's right here. Here's the jungle. Fuck off.
Right. Damn.
He did some wild ass fucking movies, though, man.
He did.
2001. This conspiracy theory about him directing the moon landing was that he was doing it at the same time he was doing 2001. So because he was faking this space movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, that they used him to fake the moon landing footage. And there's a fake documentary, not a real documentary, but a fake, like a mockumentary, where he's admitting and people are talking about. Have you seen that one?
No, but that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, dude, you didn't even know there's an actual real interview with him where he admits that he faked the moon landing. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's just, it's fake, but it's...
Were you ever on the in the camp of the moon landing was fake?
For years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite all-time conspiracies because it's so strange that we never went back. I abandoned it because I don't know anything about astrophysics or space travel or any of that stuff. And the people that do think it's real. So I'm like, okay, well, most likely...
They think the landing really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so many weird things to it. There's so many. There's so many weird things with the photographs. And there's like intersecting shadows that indicate different light sources. There's all sorts of weird...
The flag waving.
Yeah, it's weird shit, man. There's a lot of weird shit. The fact that this is the only time in human history that something is not cheaper, easier, and faster to replicate than it was in 1969. Between 1969 and 1972, there was 7 trips, 6 successful, where they went to the moon and back. And every space flight since then has been like near Earth orbit. You know, everything is like, you know, just a few miles up. It's not, they don't go like they did then. I mean, I think everything since then is like 300 miles. Every human travel, you know, like space shuttles and stuff like that, they never go that far.
Yeah.
They never go into deep space and come back. The only time they came back was during the moon landings in the 60s when they were lying about everything. But the thing is, like, Nixon was president back then. It was like, it's so romantic.
Bombing Cambodia. And
yeah. It's so romantic to think that they faked it. Also, here's another reason. If you watch the post-flight press conference, and again, I'm not saying that this is actually what's happening, but it seems completely like they're full of shit. When they come back, it seems like they're lying and they're nervous, and they ask them about the stars, and And again, I'm not on the camp that they faked it, but there was Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and Michael Collins. And Michael Collins, they asked him about stars, and in the press conference, he's like, I don't recall seeing any stars. Problem with that is, like, Michael Collins never left the lunar module. He wasn't supposed to be one of the guys that was on the surface of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
He was up in the craft that was circling, that was in orbit around the moon. And then later, when he wrote a book about it, he talked about how magnificent the stars looked. So he has inconsistencies. So the hoax people point to that. They also point to the inconsistencies of the actual movement of the astronauts on the moon. Like, there's videos that make it look like they were on wires. There's videos that
there's like the back of his suit is being pulled by something.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, when was the last time you saw someone in 1/6 Earth's gravity? Maybe things just look weird. But there's a video of them where it looks like they're on trampolines, which is very strange. They're bouncing around on the surface of the moon, like, literally, and you can't see their feet, or they're like hidden behind equipment. They're just bouncing up in the air, and you're like, it's fun. It's fun to think that Kubrick faked it all. Catch new.
That's exactly how I feel. It's very fun. I love it.
That is fun.
But that is something very telling. He talks about how that guy said he didn't see the stars, and then all of a sudden in the book he said he did see the stars.
Amazing, yeah.
That's very weird. Like, why would you do that?
That is weird.
Know? And then when it comes to them on the moon, that's the one I really want to see. When they're on the moon, on moon footage. 1969.
I heard too, when they landed, they were taken into isolation and, like, monitored for, like, and they were checked for, like, radiation and stuff. So they didn't do that press conference until after their isolation period. So it could have been like a briefing, debriefing kind of situation. Like, this is what you're going to say before they go to the press conference. And then they're at the press conference all moody.
Yeah, right? Who knows? And then you're told that you're going to... See, that's weird. When you talk about that whole thing, like, this is like a little bit of that footage, right? And they're able to do that with their feet. Like, that's a pretty deep mark.
Yeah.
And they're in this thing. Let's make us a little
smaller. Is that like the rover?
Yeah, that's them driving around. They're just cruising, having a good old time.
That would be so weird. Like, if it actually did happen.
See, and that's like where they're like, oh, it looks weird. How they're like jumping around.
It's like galloping.
Because here's the weird thing. Like, I don't know. It's like, if I was on the moon, I would definitely want to jump around.
Exactly. Like, they're not just going to walk normally because it feels so weird.
Yeah, you'd want to see, like, okay, this is what happens when you jump around. Okay, this is cool.
I get that.
But then at the same time, I'd be like, we're not jumping around. We're not risking messing these goddamn suits up, boys.
True. It's the only thing keeping you alive.
This is insane. We have to be able to get back on this ship and be fine. Like, we can't have anything to the contrary, guys. So don't jump around, please. I don't know. But again, it's the best thing in the world to think that Stanley Kubrick is good enough to fake a moon landing. There's nothing better than that. I love it. Because I love him. I love Stanley Kubrick as much as I love Joe Rogan. And you know what? I'm actually going to make a Stanley Kubrick shirt. I forgot.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that ASAP.
Perfect.
And I'm going to say, I'm going to call it, and I'm going to say, we didn't land on the moon. He's going to have a little thought bubble of him talking.
We didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Why not?
Yeah.
Who cares? I got the equipment to make clothing. I'll just make it. But yeah, what else you got? Nothing?
Well, the other thing I just thought was funny was in 1962, I think it was, JFK like had a speech about going to the moon, and he had promised that they were going to go to the moon within that decade. So like within the 60s.
Oh, so they had to. It was like the last
That's
year.
what I mean. Like the very last year possible, they did it. Like, surprising. But then also in 1970, their budget got cut by a lot. Like, their budget through the moon landing, this stuff was like $4 billion a year in their money back then, which is like crazy now.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
And then 1970, immediately they slashed it by like 25%, and they were down to $3 billion.
True.
But it's like it makes me think too, like people were so excited about the moon landing, like they were so into it. Like why would you cut the budget right then?
Yeah. Because the thing about it is, like, and one thing that Rogan brought up, it's like it's the first thing in history that hasn't got cheaper and easier.
Yeah.
Like since 1969, like everything should be cheaper and easier. We have supercomputers on our person.
They were
now.
doing
We
math
walk
by
around.
hand.
Yeah, exactly. So you would think if that technology went the same as every technology that we have, then we should have colonies on the moon right now.
Yeah.
Like full colonies with basements.
With basement.
Yeah.
Moon basement.
Yeah, of course. You should have all that. But for some reason we don't. Or maybe we do. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they did go and they were just like, okay, we're going to colonize now. Okay, Russia couldn't do it. We're colonizing. We're gonna be able to be over the earth, and we're starting now. And we're getting a crew together. And that's why it got cut, because another $1 billion had to go to those guys who were like on the moon now.
Or like the budget was still technically there. It was like a shadow budget.
Yeah, exactly, right? So who knows? Who knows?
Interesting.
You never see the dark side of the moon.
That's true. And there's like a massive crater there or something too. That could be like a city. Yeah. The biggest crater on the moon is on the dark side.
Can you imagine here's a little movie. You guys thought you were going to get a movie script? Here's a little movie script for you. Every single time a celebrity dies, somebody high up, they actually don't die. And they get this longevity serum, we'll call it. And then they go to the moon. And they just live on the moon.
Yeah. With the rest of their lizard friends.
And it's super advanced. Super advanced, and you just get to live on the dark side of the moon, and it's all populated with the richest, best people of the world, you know, and they give up like all of their income to like just live there, you know, the way like an old person would have to like pay their social security to like live in like a retirement home. Same type of thing.
That's crazy.
You know?
Yep.
I'm Stanley Kubrick. It's another conspiracy, guys.
Yeah.
I never died.
Oh. You came back from the moon?
I just came back, and now I do a podcast. It doesn't get that many views, you know, but I love doing it. They said I couldn't make movies anymore, but I was able to make podcasts.
Yeah.
Next best thing. But anything else?
No, that was everything.
I don't know what we're going to do next, but we're going to do something. If you've watched until this long, thank you so much. And the next thing, I don't know. I want to do Hollow Earth. I really want to get into Freemasonry, but that's going to take some research.
That's going to be a big one.
On both of our parts. I don't usually research, but I'm going to have to. Out of respect to the Masons. You know, I'm not a part of it, but got respect for them. Anybody who runs around in the shadows and runs the world, I respect. But we'll figure out which one that is, and we'll have another episode out for you guys next week.
Yeah, Sunday.
All right.
This week.
Yeah, this week. Okay. Oh yeah, we're doing this on Wednesday.
This decade.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. For sure by this decade. All right, guys, I am out.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye.
There you go.